Ah, guys, you see this? This is the face of someone who just watched an episode of Zom 100. Man, is this show just such a breath of fresh air, dude. I love it so much, it's actually crazy. Probably the best show this season so far, to me. Which is wild in a season that has Bleach and Jujutsu Kaisen in it. But man, Zom is just phenomenal. And this episode is no different. Now guys, as much as I loved last week's episode and thought it was a great introduction, I think this week's episode is just as good because we kind of see the opposite in a way. How we get to see Akira's perspective last week and how this is like the best thing ever for him. A zombie apocalypse. He doesn't have to go to work. His whole life is changed because of this. But this episode, we really get to see the opposite of that. And we get to see how, normal people would react in a situation like this. And how it's truly not fun and games. So, without further ado, let's just get straight into it and talk about Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead, Episode 2. First things first, guys. Let's talk about that opening. That opening slaps harder than it really needs to, dude. You want to talk about a great tone setter for a series. How everything, despite the world being over and destroyed, is so upbeat and colorful and fucking positive, man. It's really enjoyable. I really like the opening. Great opening so far. And right off the bat as our episode begins, we see our boy Akira still loving life right now after the world's ending. It's kind of hilarious to me, and kind of sad a little bit if you really think about it, that it took a zombie apocalypse for this man to clean his room out. Do you know how freaking nasty that room was, bro? In the first episode. And it took the world ending for him to do it. And it's here now that the room's finally clean. We gotta reward ourselves, guys. And what better way to do that than just pounding beers back during the day? Because why not? We've worked hard for 3 years. Now it's time to chill. But it's here. We start to get a good idea of how the world itself is handling this situation as we actually tune into a live news broadcast. As we just hear fires are blazing everywhere, and even our studio is in danger of being overrun by workers that have turned. Internet and telecommunications are down, and there's been no word from the government at all. And it's here as they're communicating information, we see that they get attacked, and the communication suddenly shuts off. As our boy Akira, watching it, realizes, I guess things are pretty bad in the world right now, huh? Like you think, man? You think? But for our boy, nothing else matters. Today is focused on beer and beer alone. As he says it himself, I'm gonna stay put in my room with a cold one in my hand and embrace my inner degenerate and rejuvenate myself after 3 years. Hell, I know people that do that shit without an apocalypse. There's only one problem with this plan, guys. You kinda can't do it when you don't have beer. First world problems right here. So naturally in this situation, our boy Akira does what any calm, rational person would do in a situation like this. It's time to make a beer run, baby. And it's here as we transition to our next scene. We see that not everyone is as positive about this as Akira is, as we see this couple who have barricaded themselves in their apartment are just fighting for their lives right now, terrified of what could happen at any moment. No one's coming to help. No one's coming to save them. It truly is the end of the world. And as they're trying desperately to figure out what to do, who should they see crawling down the side of the wall but our boy Akira, who is as chipper as ever, like top of the morning to you guys. How you doing on this fine day? As he tells him, oh, by the way, I'm going to the convenience store. Y'all want me to bring you some stuff? Like instant noodles, flashlights, all that kind of stuff. As they're like, yeah, bring some toilet paper. 2-ply would be nice. Because even in the apocalypse, guys, you gotta have standards. And it's here as we see Akira going to the store. He starts realizing that, the number of zombies have really grown since yesterday. Really showcasing that this problem is starting to really get out of hand fast. that even if he's on his bike, he could pretty easily get surrounded and overwhelmed by zombies. But our boy would risk it all if it means he can have a cold beer in his hand, baby. And it's here as he gets to the convenience store. We're upbeat, we're positive, we're singing a little tune. It's just he's having a great time. But it's here. He ends up having a very fateful encounter with quite a beautiful girl, I might add. As he realizes, damn, that song I was singing was kind of really weird right now, huh? That was embarrassing. And it's here as he's collecting his beer. He's trying to strike up a conversation with her. Get some conversation going. But she is completely and utterly ignoring him right now. Totally tuning him out. As he eventually stops her and says, excuse me. Since we happen to meet like this, do you want to exchange contact information with me? Us being two survivors after all. No other reason. And it's here as he thinks she's saying yes to this. He's like, sweet, all right, let me get my phone out. But then she suddenly tells him, it's not any of my business or anything. But you deciding to risk it all and go out to buy something non-essential is definitely not what I call a high priority task. As she tells him flat out, I can't see myself teaming up with someone who doesn't know how to analyze risk. And as we see zombies breaking into the store, she tells him, I'd really prefer not to lower my chances of survival. So, I'll have to pass on giving you my contact information, if you don't mind. Pretty harsh, honestly, but in this situation, I couldn't blame anyone for being that way. She's not wrong. And it's here as we see the zombies are about to attack her. We actually see Akira jump in front of her to try to protect her here. But let's just say, this girl doesn't need any protecting, as she actually grabs the collar of his hoodie, throws him over her shoulder as a truck comes barreling into the place, smashing up the zombies. And let's just say, our boy Akira has a hell of a first encounter with this girl. Truly an unforgettable experience. And as she gets off him and leaves, he's still laying on the ground like, what just happened right here? Why is my heart beating so quick? But as he comes back to his senses and goes to thank her, he realizes that she stole his bike. And she's just riding off into the distance. As he can't help thinking to himself, man, she was badass. And pretty too. As he says, I wonder if I'll see her again. And guys, something tells me, yeah, I think we will. But it's here with his bike stolen. We see our boy Akira has to figure out a way to get back to his apartment now, as he actually spies a little moped and he takes it for a spin. And it's here as he's riding around, he's thinking to himself, I completely forgot that this all started during rush hour. So the roads are littered with bikes and scooters, all with keys in them. Pretty good score. But as he's driving, our boy notices something even better than a scooter, as he grabs a dope-ass motorcycle instead. That's a real upgrade. That's way better than a bike. As we see this man literally goes off a makeshift ramp, jumps over a zombie, great shot by the way, and just does a wheelie down the road. And it's here as he makes it back to his apartment. He starts thinking, what a good day. I stocked up on beer, I met a cute girl, and I even got the motorcycle of my dreams. But it's here as he's climbing back up, and he stops to talk to this couple that we met earlier in our episode. We see the severity of this situation as he realizes that I'm too late. They're gone. They were overrun. And we literally see reality set in on his face right here. And it's here later that night as he's sitting in his room pounding back these beers. He starts thinking to himself again that, we could die today, or we could die 60 years from now. Either way, there's never enough time to do all that we want to do. And as we see things have really been put in perspective for him, he says, life's too short to avoid taking risks. And it's here we transition to my favorite scene in the entire episode. As he starts writing things down, as he says, "When I was a kid, there were so many things I wanted to do, but I always found one excuse or another and ended up not doing those things. I've decided to take a 3-year vacation to have as much fun as I can." And it's here we really see him start hammering down everything that he wants to do. Everything he's always thought about doing his entire life right here. And I love this scene because this episode really is kind of like a little bit of a reality check. Just to show him that, yeah, you are free right now, but the world itself isn't. The world is going to shit. And you only have a finite amount of time left. And I truly love seeing him just putting all his feelings down on this paper, just kind of letting everything out right here in a way. It has to be therapeutic for him also, and just is a great scene overall. As we see, he only has 33 things right now, but it's a great start of his 100 things to do before turning into a zombie. But it's here in this scene, we're actually gonna go back throughout this day as we see this girl's perspective on it. And how her mindset and mentality on this situation is completely different than his. As we see, she's trying to keep her regular schedule going, Trying to keep things how they were. Bit of a health nut too, I've noticed, with all these vitamins here, good lord. As she says, "I can't contact the main office in LA either. This situation's looking critical." As we see her start writing down all the things that she knows that she's going to need to survive. Secure food and water. Acquire a sustainable energy source. Maintain mental stability. That's an important one. Continue regular exercise. Minimize sugar intake. As we see, she's making her own list of 100 things to do to avoid becoming a zombie. And I really like her approach in this situation, actually. Very methodical. She's planning everything out. As she says, there are 2 types of zombies in movies. Slow and fast. As we see, she starts looking at zombies down on the street, just analyzing them. And she says, that one's slow, that one's slow. And she's like, that solid body type looks extremely dangerous. And as she's documenting everything she finds, she realizes that, okay, in this particular pandemic right now, I see that there's fast and slow zombies. As she realizes that if you can identify which type it is when you encounter one, your chances of survival increase drastically. As she realizes that I need to go down there and see for myself how this is. I need raw data. And it's here as we see her go to the convenience store. We see her set up a camera behind her, actually, so she knows for certain that she's not going to get ambushed. Very smart. And as she's going throughout the store, she's getting everything you would think you would need. Gas, batteries, food you can cook. And it's here we see her stop at the sweets. And she clearly really wants this. But she ends up not grabbing it. Which is kind of silly to me. It's not like you can't just put that shit in your pocket, but whatever. And it's here she notices on her camera our boy Akira coming in. As she's kind of surprised she ran into another survivor. And as our boy comes in singing his goofy ass beer song, she notes that, he seems harmless. As she notices that he actually brought zombies along with him here. As she realizes that, alright, they're far enough behind, but I should get what I need quickly from here and leave before we get overrun. As she says, man, this guy's a classic case of a short-sighted person who's unable to think beyond the present moment. How did someone like him end up surviving this long? And again, she's harsh, guys, but she's not exactly wrong in this situation. And it's here she suddenly notices a car horn. She realizes that that's going to attract the zombies. And if she goes out now, she's more than likely going to get jumped by them. As she notices on her camera set outside that the truck from earlier is actually speeding into this building. It's heading this way. As she realizes that, alright, if I get all of them to follow me right now, and if I can get the timing just right, the truck will take them out. But it's here, as Akira jumps in front of her, he's kind of ruining that plan. So now we know why she throws him out the way as the truck comes barreling into the building. And as she leaves, she says, wow, a runaway truck driven by a zombie crashed into this building. What a magnificently perfect zombie trope. I have to agree. As she steals his bike and gets on out of there. And it's here she gets back to her apartment. She's like, all right, water's been secured, food, power, and fuel have been secured. And I managed to get some data. Overall, pretty good day. And it's here she starts going over all the data that she's collected throughout the day. She notices that video of Akira, who looks so happy, as she says, who knew a single beer could make someone that happy in a state of emergency? And it's here she thinks back to those sweets that she wanted to grab at the store. She says to herself, damn, maybe I should have grabbed that mochi after all. And with that, our episode ends. And I gotta say, guys, I really loved this episode. I can tell immediately that I'm gonna really like the dynamic between these two characters. I can already tell. Because our boy Akira is just so, like, happy-go-lucky. He's so carefree. And she's so, like, deadly serious. And, like, we gotta do this, this, and this to survive. And I can tell that these two are really gonna mesh well together. Because they're gonna give each other the things that they don't have. She's gonna make him a little more serious. And he's gonna show her that, you know, in this situation, we kind of gotta live a little bit. You know, we're surviving, but we need to live at the same time too. If you don't know the difference between that, I suggest you guys go try to live as well. But yeah, it's just going to be a great dynamic. I can already tell it's going to be very fun. And this ending, man, this ending was great. I think I like the ending even more than the opening, actually. It's so 90s feeling, and I kind of love it. I loved it immediately the second it started. Man, just what a great show this is, guys. It's probably the best show this season so far, pretty easily, which is crazy to say. But let me know your thoughts on this episode down below, because I would love to hear it, guys, as we move forward into episode 3. But until next time, guys, I hope you guys have a great day, week, month, and year. And until then, deuces, have a blessed day, and I will see you guys next time.